told you that you fly too fast. Forget I said that. Fly fast.
Destiny is finally on the PC. It's only taken us 2 games to get here, but get here it has. There's been so much hype this time around, but as we know all too well with hype, the proof is very much in the pudding.
Alright, let's see if this works.
If you're not already acquainted, Destiny 2 is an online first-person shooter that spans gorgeous environments with a drop-in system that makes playing with friends as seamless as possible. There are 3 main modes to play: traditional story, spanning 4 planets, competitive multiplayer action in the Crucible, and cooperative multiplayer across strikes and raids, things that you're going to want to do with your friends. Now, you might think that there is plenty to do then, and for the most part you'd be correct. The story has seen big improvements from the original, with the story that's easier to follow, and characters that actually have plenty of depth. But it's a real far cry from being perfect though, and it doesn't quite match up to what we've seen from the Halo series, as while it's perfectly entertaining, it just lacks a lot of engagement. It's longer than the first game, but it'll still only last you a few days at best. There's just too many characters, and I didn't really care about any of them. It's very linear, and nothing happens that's really surprising. And you know what? The fact that your character doesn't speak a line at all really doesn't help either.
Have you got that? Say you've got it. Say something!
Fine, I'll say it. We got it, Cade.
Character selection is handled with enough choice to keep most happy, but it's largely unchanged from the original. You have a choice of 3 classes, with each carrying its own abilities and armour, and then you've got 3 additional subclasses per class, so there's oodles of flexibility, and it's great fun to experiment with the different setups and see what works for you. The weapons and armour are earned from kills and activities, and the rarer gear is available later as you level up. You can even get exotic items, and you can only equip 1 weapon and 1 armour piece in exotic, but these have unique bonuses that completely change the way your character works. And upgrading items to a higher level is possible, but unlike in Destiny 1, you can't progress your weapon with kills. So if you find a gun you really like, it's going to be the same regardless of whether you've just got it or whether you've been using it for the last 3 weeks.
Alright, Guardian, time to kick 'em where it hurts!
As for the PC version, it's actually mostly excellent. The mouse and keyboard controls feel tight, and the level of control is far superior to the console versions with that unlocked frame rate. There's also a plethora of options to choose from with ultra-wide support, and settings to suit any modern system. The game does have a bit of an issue with lower FPS in certain areas, and unfortunately at the time of filming there is a big issue with Vega cards that results in freezing in certain areas, so if you're in this camp, do check that this has actually been resolved before buying.
Stop. Look. Long story, and it may look like I don't know what I'm doing, but I do. Maybe not. It doesn't matter.
But of course, it's the gameplay that makes Destiny so special. It's solid, it's tight, and it's just shooter action that's very, very satisfying to play. The combination of abilities and wide weapon selection gives fantastic variety to combat encounters, and even after 40 hours of gameplay, it doesn't feel remotely stale. Things are a little different in the Crucible though, as it's still not really where I'd like it to be. Matchmaking is pretty slow, and the weapon balance just feels a little tailored towards controllers. That's not to say it's not fun, as the varied combat is certainly different to your modern military shooter, but a one-shot kill ability is significantly more powerful when you've got people using a mouse.
Guardian, something's wrong.
Leveling in Destiny 2 is actually surprisingly easy, but once you get to power level 265, the equipment you find will stop scaling properly, and the only way to progress is to complete weekly milestones. These refresh every Tuesday and can be things like completing multiplayer games or a strike on a hard difficulty. But the big problem with this is that you'll find yourself running out of things to do, as once you've done the milestones, you're not going to be able to do anything to get better gear. With the end result that it just makes you feel like there's no point playing until the next week. Which is such a shame, as there's some really tough strike missions out there and things like the raids, but once you've done them, that's it. So it just feels a little unsatisfying.
If we wait, we die. But if we attack together, we can take back our home, our light, our hope. Or we die trying.
But despite all of its problems, I really recommend Destiny 2. It's a far cry from perfect, there's a lot of things that need to be tweaked to make it enjoyable in the long term, but it's an incredibly easy game to pick up and play, and it's really addictive. I've put endless hours into my review copy, and I'll continue to do so for a long time. I think the biggest thing to note is that this isn't a game to be enjoyed by yourself. You need to get some friends for the best experience, as playing by yourself just isn't that fun. And the allure of taking down strikes and raids on prestige difficulty, yeah, it's an activity made for 3. So go and grab some friends and get started. You've got a lot of catching up to do.